magical friends. Welcome to Kick-Ass Witch, put in the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you are watching a video about the many yous inside of you. One crazy dream I had, I'm trying to remember the title of this video, method acting and self-image. Hopefully I will remember to talk about all of that here. Because this is live. This is live. I had the thought when I woke up this morning, the day's almost over. It's 3:20 p.m. and the light, I should say, is almost over. Not the day, but the light. So I can see like one eye is bigger than the other right now because of the funky shadows in this room. So I'm going to talk fast if I can to get through this. But I had this dream last night and I woke up this morning, I was like, and I have to talk about it. I wasn't sure if I was going to hop onto Patreon or Facebook or what I was going to do, but I was like, I'm going to make a YouTube video, a live stream. So here I am sharing my dream with you. And then all the other things I mentioned are just sort of where the dream took me in my own mind. So it's a very creepy, weird dream, I have to say, and I hope I can remember it accurately. I wrote it in my Medusa dream journal. I love this journal so much. I love this. I bought this in Portland, Oregon last year on my birthday. And I used to, well, I go through phases where I keep a dream journal and I journal every single day because I have very, very vivid dreams, and it's really interesting to track your dreams that way, especially if you do it long enough that you can start seeing patterns emerge. But I'm not really in that space, and I haven't been for the last year or so. So I'm not even that far through this journal. It's not that thick. I've just been writing down really significant dreams that grab me and like give me a feeling, like a ooh kind of feeling. And then funny enough, my friend Lenora sent me this same journal for my birthday this year. So I can keep it going. Maybe I'll have a little collection of these Medusa journals over the years to collect my dreams, because I really resonate with the idea of Medusa. And as I've talked about, I won't get into that here, but you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to pull it up so I can say hi to you if you show up. And my computer's been so weird. I'm afraid to try, but I'm going to try to pull you up before I get into sharing my dream here so I can see if anybody's here with me. I literally have to search my own name on YouTube in a different browser to do this. And there's probably a better way, but I don't know what that is. So, mute. Okay, here we are. Nicole, Maeve. Am I saying your name right, Maeve? And another name I can't pronounce, Rhonda, R-A-U-N-D-A. Hello. Hi, you three. Hello. I'm going to like my own video because I feel like it. Okay. So let me not get distracted and tell you about this crazy dream I had. And you all can tell me what you think about it. Immediately when I woke up, I started having all kinds of ideas about this dream. So I love Meg Ryan. No offense to Meg Ryan, but she did have some plastic surgery that changed her appearance. And it ended up, I believe, I guess she hasn't made a statement on this, but it appeared to impact her career in a negative way. And there's no judgment on her for that because lots of women do this. She just happened to have, it just didn't turn out so great in her case. I still think she's a lovely woman, but in my dream, myself and a reporter woman, I guess, we were going to interview Meg Ryan at her house in Santa Monica. I don't know if Meg Ryan lives in Santa Monica, but in my dream she did. And on the way there, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about, there is, of course, a leaf blower. I hope you guys can't hear that. It's hard for me to stay focused with that really loud, unnatural squeal in my ears, but I'm going to try. So on the way to I'm not really sure what my role was. We were going to interview her, but I was with a reporter. So I don't know if we were both reporters or if I was just along for the ride or what. But I kept thinking about that, about how she had altered her face and how it had impacted her career. And I was curious to see her in person. And when we got there, her house was this really, really big, kind of stark colonial, like a wooden house, very large, very white. When we went inside, it was very stark is the word that comes to mind. Very simple, very stripped down. And the house had a kind of like ghost vibe to me. I don't know. The whole thing was kind of strange. My focus really was not as much on Meg as it was on this house. And she was walking us through the house, through all the rooms of the house and kind of telling us what was what. And so we're going on this tour of her house. And then when we went upstairs, I got this feeling of like dread, you know, like what is going on here? Like everything shifted and it felt very, very strange. And then I'm getting spooked. And then the way the rooms were was like you walked through a room, through a closet, through a bathroom, through a closet, through a room. I don't know if you've ever been in an old house like that, but they all connected in a big circle. And she just wanted to like rush us through really quick. But when we went through this one particular room, like the main bedroom, it was just a big kind of almost empty room with a white bed in the middle and a dresser. And that was about it. I felt like so creeped out and weirded out about it and curious about like, why is she rushing us through this room? This is so strange. And we went through really fast and the reporter started questioning her about that and wanted to go back into that room. And I knew it wasn't a good idea, right? So we went back in the room with Meg Ryan and the reporter lady went over to this, it looked like a jewelry box, but it wasn't fancy at all. It was just a plain brown wood box. And she went to touch it. I don't know if she went to open it, but all of a sudden she flipped up in the air upside down and slammed up against the wall really, really hard, like Exorcist style, and was stuck to the wall that way. And Meg was like, it wants us to play our role. It wants us to play our role. We have to play our role. We have to play our role. I'm like, what role? Like, what is she talking about? And she's like, get in bed. We have to get in the bed. We have to get in the bed. So Meg Ryan got on one side of the bed. I got on one side of the bed. And the lady that was stuck to the wall, like, came down in the bed right between us. And Meg Ryan's going, okay, we have to play our roles now. We have to play our role. The house wants us to play our role. And the reporter lady, my eyes are gonna start watering. The reporter later turned to me like completely transformed, like she wasn't even herself anymore, like in the eyes. And she said, sister. And then she looked at Meg Ryan and Meg Ryan said, sister. And Meg Ryan said, sister. And I guess that was too much for me because I was like, I'm out of here. And I woke up. That was the end of the dream. So let me see if you guys are with me here. If I just lost you with this, Rhonda, hi. Hello, everybody. Hi, Cora. Hi, Weber. Okay, so that was my spooky dream. It made me think about. I dream a lot about houses, and I've talked a lot about how caring for your home is caring for your soul. Caring for your body or caring for your home is actually care of the soul. So I had that thought, but I also was thinking a lot about structures, like physical structures and Saturn. But mainly I was thinking about roles, acting roles, because Meg Ryan is an actor and she was telling us in the dream, like, we have to play our role. The house wants us to play our role. And it was very creepy, but the way the woman's eyes changed when she turned and looked at me and said, sister, it sent chills down my spine because I knew the woman like had stepped into this other role. And method acting, for those of you, is it called Andy and Jim? There's a special right now that's been getting a lot of airtime on Twitter. A lot of people have been talking about this documentary on Netflix about Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman. I have met Jim Carrey. I spent 3 days hanging out with him on a set, the set of, oh God, the name of the movie just flew out of my head. It's a horribly reviewed movie too. Oh, maybe it'll come back to me. And he was lovely. He was lovely. All he wanted to talk about was his daughter and ask me about my son. And he was not at all like goofy or wacky or out there. He was very calm and down to earth. And we just chilled out and hung out. So I don't know, a lot of the speculation, because he's been talking a lot about spirituality and people think he's woke and people think he's enlightened. And then other people, after watching that documentary, were saying he's possessed. And I would say great actors, method actors, they are possessed in a weird way, in that every single thing that exists is inside of you, and you can call it forward and you can bring it out in a really profound way when you are a method actor, when you're acting. I recommend looking up, go check out True Romance and then Dracula back to back to watch Gary Oldman be like two completely different characters in like a short period of time, just to see like how different the same actor can be. And he's another person that I've met in real life, like totally not actory at all, very just calm. He was just playing with his daughter, very just a normal person. But in these roles, like they have so much power and intensity and they become these other people. Check out Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire. Nicole Kidman, who I think is really underrated. If you look at certain roles of hers back to back to back, what is the one? To Die For is very interesting. Look at her acting in To Die For. Lots and lots of examples of this, because method acting has become a certain standard in America. Really kicked off with Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire, and then took off in the 70s with Robert Redford, Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman. Go check out Sally Field in Sybil if you want to see someone portray a really tragic story of a woman with multiple personality disorders, but which also comes into play with what I'm saying right now in terms of like how you can become something else and still be yourself in a way. So someone with multiple personality disorders, it is said that even their eyes will change color sometimes, or one personality has diabetes and the other one doesn't, because the person experiencing that is having such an experience of whatever personality comes forward that it literally changes what they're allergic to, or what the color of their eyes are, or the tone of their voice, or how sensitive they are. Method actors channel that on purpose. And the reason that I'm talking about this is so too can witches, magicians, and there is nothing unethical about it. You're doing it right now. The personality that you've developed over the course of your life is not who you are. It's just one aspect of who you are. It's just a personality. It's just a set of character traits and a certain mask that you feel comfortable in. And I'm going to guess that there are different yous depending on who you're hanging out with, right? So if you're hanging out with your grandma, you probably are a little bit different than you are when you're hanging out with the cute guy at the club. You know what I'm saying? You probably hold your body in a different way. You probably dress in a different way. You probably talk in a different way. And actors harness that. If you saw the video that I did earlier this year on glamour magic, witches can also harness this. And this is one of the things that I did an episode of the podcast recently on self-image. This is one of the things that really interests me in working with an archetype for a period of time. So if you're going to work with the queen archetype, like I keep saying, like, make 2018 the year of the queen, you're pulling forth inside of you an energy that already exists, but you're giving it life and you're giving it expression in a way that not only changes you, but it changes the people around you and the way that they react to you. And my background is in studying method acting way before I was studying magic. And when I started learning magic, I started immediately like going back to all of that. I learned all of what I learned as a method actor and being like, this all completely applies. Sense memory is my favorite thing to employ as a magician still to this day. But it's really interesting how closely the two are related. So I think I just quickly blabbed everything I wanted to say, actually. Sounds like they're channeling characters. Yeah, you can. I don't know. I mean, that's up for debate. I mean, are they channeling something outside themselves that is coming down, or are they channeling a part of themselves out? I think what you're doing is calling forth a part of yourself. So something you learn in method acting is that there is a murderer in everyone. And they usually start with that when, you know, because always there's the student in the class that asks, well, how can I play a murderer? Because when you are going to be a method actor, what differentiates method acting from the kind of acting that used to be popular is the kind of acting that used to be popular was fake. It was fake. It was like pretending that you're mad. Whereas in method acting, you really are mad, or you really are sad, or you really are murderous. So how do you portray feeling murderous if you are not a murderer? And so they have you explore these different ways that that might be true. It could be in a certain situation if somebody harmed your child, or a really simple example that I relate to is, especially lately, because I just had this experience, is I am an ant murderer. We're having this weird weather here where it's been really, really warm. It was 94 degrees the day before. I have to get rid of myself. I can't see myself right there. It's too distracting. It was 94 degrees the day before Thanksgiving, and it's been so warm here. That's why we're having the fires that we're having. Please pray for California if you haven't done so already. Do whatever magic you have, because the fires are serious and the winds are spreading it all around because it's unseasonably hot, was my original point. And what that does for me and my ancient house that I live in is it brings the ants inside. I think they're looking for water because they always go to wherever our water is. And this one day they went into, I have a big Berkey water filter right next to my sink, and they got inside the water filter and they wouldn't go away. And I had to clean all of that out, but they kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And I hesitated not in killing them. I was a big ant murderer. And because I only use non-toxic products, they're super non-toxic. They don't kill ants. So I ended up like smushing them a bunch. You know, you get those little scout ants that go out in search of like, hey, where's the next hit of food? So I can tell the tribe, like, if I see one, I just happily squish it with my finger. So if you were a method actor, your teacher might have you tap into that ability to take a life like that and have it literally mean nothing to you. Like, I can kill an ant and I don't feel guilty and I don't feel remorse. I feel glad about it. I say things like, you fucker. And you can judge me for that. That is my murderous side. And that is how you tap into that. I don't know that you would ever want to tap into that for a magic spell, but that's just one example of how you're not necessarily channeling something outside of you. It's something that already exists within, because everything exists within. As above, so below. You are the below. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm. Therefore, if it exists in nature, and you can pull it out, you can tease it out. And that's a really fun thing to explore with your magic, especially if you're interested in working with archetypes for empowerment, for example, or changing your self-image, you know, to call yourself I'm not a big girl boss lady because I don't want to call myself a girl. For a long time, I did call all my friends girlfriends and stuff, and myself a girl. But I finally, in my 40s, got to a point where I'm like, no, I'm a woman. But if girl boss empowers you, or some, you know, some phrase like that empowers you, and it makes you walk different, and it makes you think differently, and it makes you feel differently, then that works for you, and that's empowering. I'd say Faye Dunaway and Mommy Dearest too, but who knows if she came out of that. Yeah, it's interesting too. I mean, you can come to absolutely despise an actor because they so completely embody a terrifying role. I mean, I know Joffrey, the actor that played Joffrey on Game of Thrones, got so much shit, like when he'd just be out like at a pub with his friends because people hated Joffrey so much that they would see the actor that played Joffrey and they would go after him. Kind of creepy. Yes, it's creepy and weird, but it's also at your service as a witch. I mean, it's something that exists in us that we can use to our benefit. And maybe it's because of my acting background. I don't really have a problem with that. It's helped me a lot in my life, being able to call forth parts of my personality. When I'm scared, you know, if I'm scared, how do I call forth the sacred bitch if I need to get something done that requires me standing up for myself, and I don't really feel like I can stand up for myself, but I know I need to. So there's this other part of me that I can call forward, and it feels a little bit like possession. It changes who I am if I can get there. And sometimes you need a little talisman, you need a little touchstone, a special piece of jewelry, your Wonder Woman underoos, whatever it is for you, that when you put it on, it like creates that shift in you and you're able to like go to that place. It takes practice for sure, but it's a fun practice, I think. Many yous inside of you sounds like schizophrenia. Totally, yes. Yes. I wonder about people with schizophrenia, especially homeless people, when I see them on the streets. If you see them talking to someone who is not there, they seem so utterly convinced that someone is there, and they like are having these whole heated conversations with them. And I don't know, I just always wonder, like, maybe they're actually seeing what's there and we are not. Like maybe like a part of their brain has opened up a little too far to function on this planet anymore. But maybe there's something there. Hello, hi, how are you? So that was my creepy dream, and that's everything I think that I was gonna say about it. If there's anything you guys want to talk about really quick. Yeah, this is my, I ended with, I was mortified. That's my journal entry here. I was mortified when the lady turned to me and said, sister. It was very creepy for me. Hey, Joe, just popping in to say hi on a lunch break. Can't stay. That's okay. Thank you. Thanks for saying hey. We definitely have multiple personalities that live within us. We so do. We so do. And don't you have a day where you're like ashamed of your own behavior at the end of the day? You're like, you were a total dick that day, or an asshole, or out of control in some way. And just the day before, you were like loving life and loving yourself and doing amazing things and being helpful. It's like, why is that? Why is that? You know, there's all these different sides to us that live within. And you can get really like stoner spacey out there and be like, I am everything and I am nothing. But it's all, that's actually true. I love this idea. I feel like it was Neil Donald Walsh, but I'm not sure if I'm remembering that right. I recently heard someone say that our soul is not in us. We are inside our soul. And I loved that. That really resonated with me. I had never had that thought before. But once I heard that and once it clicked with me, it's really hung with me. It's only been a couple weeks, but I have thought a lot about it, about if I'm inside my soul. First of all, it's such a lovely protective image. But also, you know, when I'm channeling, which I do, or if I'm doing automatic writing or I'm praying, it really lends credence to the idea that maybe we're just talking to our higher self, because we're just reaching up a little bit into our own soul, which is an expression of the divine, which is a drop of the great ocean of like the infinite soul of all things. But I love that idea. Yay, I love it too. Our soul is huge, so much larger than our body. I love that, Sky. Sky Silverhawk, hello. Depends who you are around or your environment. I feel like in my life, I will be me and it will be determined on what I need to get things done. Yeah, I think that's an empowered perspective, is once you have a sense of sovereignty and command over your own life, you get to decide who you're going to be that day, or what part of yourself you're going to call forward, what needs to be called forward in that moment. I think when we're younger, or when we're not as spiritually aware or mature, we're sort of just like, woo, subject to the whims of our hormones and the situation we find ourselves and our emotions. Whereas like when you get some spiritual maturity, you decide. Not always, because we're human, like you have days where you fuck it up. But I think largely at this point in my life, I feel in control over who I'm going to be that day and what I'm going to experience in any given situation going forward, because I take a moment to put some intention on it, you know, especially if I'm going into an intimidating situation. Do you remember what that movie was that you watched with Eric Silvermoon? It was The Knight of Cups. It was The Knight of Cups, Sailor, and it's crazy interesting. It is not a linear movie like a Hollywood blockbuster movie. There are many movie stars in it, but it's a lot like just flipping through a tarot deck. It's rich with symbolism. If you know tarot, you'll really enjoy it, I think. Life happens for us, not to us. We're inside our higher self, and it gives of itself. I love that so much. I really do. That's awesome. Do you think your dreams become more intense as the moon becomes fuller? Mine are strange, weird, and unsettling, and then come down. Calm down. Okay. Yes and no. Sometimes I go through phases where I definitely feel that, and then other times not. So I don't know. I live in a city, and we have a lot of like light pollution and noise pollution. So I think that kind of impacts what I'm feeling. But on a full moon, the moon rises. You can see the windows behind me. There's windows in front of me and windows on the side of me as well. The moon rises behind me in bed, and it sets in front of me in the windows. It's such a cool experience. That's why I have had blinds for these windows for 2 years. And I have never put them up because I love, and my bed is on the ground. I have a mattress on the ground. I haven't put my bed up high, because if I'm up high, my neighbors will see me and then I'll have to put blinds on the window. But I love looking at the stars and the moon and the squirrels and nature and all of that. So I have this like fort-like situation on the ground. And that's all to say that when I see the moon, I like to program my dreams, and it reminds me to do that. Like, oh, it's a full moon. So I like to put an intention before I dream, maybe just that I'm going to remember my dreams. I just ask for a message, and it usually works out pretty well. It depends on the moon sign that affects you most. And if they are around the full moon, we experience it more sometimes. That makes sense to me. Yeah, that feels good. That feels good. I said everything I wanted to say today. I just came on here and blabbed really quick. I'm really excited that you guys dream yoga. Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. And I hope you got something out of it. I had fun. Much love to you. Peace.